What's going on, everybody? I am your host, Ryan. Welcome to episode 10 of Big Hoof Energy. I am now joined by Jackson and Kaylie. How you guys doing?
I'm good, doing good. How are you guys?
Doing well. Yeah, we got an exciting show today. We got the late pick 5 this Saturday at Aqueduct. Big day of racing coming up this weekend. We got Aqueduct going. We got Santa Anita, and then, of course, Pegasus weekend, Pegasus Day down at Gulfstream Park. If you need the insight on that, catch Jackson and I's show Get Bucked that we did yesterday on the channel with Andy Serling. You can also catch Picks and Ponies on the HH's Racing channel that'll go live, I think, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern after this. They have Pete Aiello joining them as well, so that'll also be a good show. But we got something fun. We got the Aqueduct late pick 5 as we normally do. What do you guys think of the sequence? It was certainly tough.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty tough sequence. The allowance race came up super competitive. Pretty hard for me to find a single here, but I did. I feel pretty confident in. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty tricky sequence, and I kind of had to single somewhere, or I would have made a monster ticket.
Yeah, interesting sequence. I think there's a couple of races that are really tough and wide open, and there's a couple others I thought you could get pretty skinny. So good mix of races is always good.
Absolutely, yeah. This wasn't my favorite sequence. I won't lie. I have a pretty skinny pick 5 ticket. Just gonna press a couple opinions, hope for the best. But I'm going out of town this weekend, so it's not gonna be a huge betting weekend for me, which is pretty rare. In what I do. But
yeah, you don't take many Mondays off, do you?
No, I don't take many Mondays off. Don't take many Tuesdays off. You know, we love Turf Paradise on a Wednesday. I'm just kidding. So we'll keep it going. Yeah, I mean, thank you everybody for watching. Sorry, I'm losing it today.
We're hopping.
What's up?
We're jumping right in.
We're jumping right into it. We're going race number 5. Picks are up on the screen. I'm going 162, Jackson 218, and Kaylie 612. Should be important to note that the 0-4-9 streak that the three of us have coming in here with top pick choices when we're all unanimous is not going to be up for grabs this week. None of us have the same top pick. So, fingers crossed we give out only winners this week. Anytime we've all had a collective single, things just haven't gone our way. So we'll get right into it. We'll go first to the number 6. That should be York Tavern, the Wayne Potts runner. First, the conditions of this race real quick. We're going 7 furlongs, 16,000 non-2 lifetime. Kaylie, why don't you take it away with your top pick in here?
Yeah, I use this horse as my top pick. He was beat last time out against Hours in a Day, but this horse did go off as the favorite that day. Went off at 8-5. Andy had noted that there was a significant rail bias that day, or that the rail was good that day. And this horse actually came pretty wide down the backstretch, covered the most ground of any other horse in that race, and just couldn't get by that number 1 who was on the rail and pulled away. So after that mile effort, the horse cut back to 6.5 furlongs and came from 6 to get up for second over a sloppy sealed track. And then last out, going 1.125 miles, he weakened. So I think now cutting back again to 7 furlongs, this horse should be dead fit coming off that last 1.125 effort. And he also gets blinkers off today, which should maybe help a little bit with his focus level, maybe pick up some horses more effectively. And it's also important to know he went off as the favorite in all 4 of his last starts as well. So
yeah, I love it. York Tavern for Wayne Potts. 3rd race coming up in 14 days as we have Noah Maher in the chat for some reason. That guy's supposed to be co-hosting Betting and Boozing right now for HHH, so I don't know what he's doing in here, but thanks for the support as always. Jackson, you left this one out of your top 3. Any particular reason why? You're muted.
That's okay. Get out of the way early. He's been favored at this level his last 4 starts, and he hasn't gotten the job done any of those times. So he's more of a horse that I would probably key underneath 2nd and 3rd because you can count on him to run a good race. But he's just one that just is very, very camera shy. So I'm assuming he's going to be one of the favorites again in this spot, and at a short price, I wanted to try to beat him.
Yeah, that's very fair. I use this one in second for similar reasons. He's a horse that I think has a big shot, especially if he runs to those 3-4 back efforts. But he is one that typically maybe likes to finish a little bit underneath. But I mean, they all kind of do in here. This is a group of experienced 16,000 non-2 lifers. So next up, we'll go to the number 2. Oh man, I am all over the place. There we go, Mr. Mendelssohn. Jackson, your top pick in here. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love this race. I think York Tavern will take some money. I think the horse to the outside is Golden Purchase is probably going to be a favorite. He's 1 for 45, and he's going to be your favorite. The one, Aaliyah, I'm sure is going to take a lot of money too off of that rail bias race that we're going to talk about a little bit later. I just didn't really trust any of them at this level. They're all they just take turns losing. So maybe I want to take a price a little bit. Mr. Mendelssohn is probably going to be a bit of a price. Nothing crazy, but I think he'll be about 5 or 6 to 1 in this spot. And I thought he had a little bit of an excuse in his last 2 races. 2 back, he was kind of on the pace where it's not really a style. He's right up there, and it came apart a little bit, nothing too crazy. And then last time was a complete merry-go-round, so he just didn't have any kind of chance in that race. So when I'm looking at him compared to some others in this spot, he's a little less exposed. A lot of these have a lot of losses at this level or similar. He's only had 2, so a little bit more upside with this horse, who probably has the best kick in the field. So maybe he can get the right kind of setup in here and come running down the lane.
I like the pick. I also like the angle of the cut back from 1 mile back to 7 furlongs as I picked this horse in third. Kaylie, you picked this one in third as well. Anything to add?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that he could probably work out a better trip today, breaking from the 2-hole. Maybe he can work out a nice tracking trip. And I think the cut back in distance should suit him well here as well. So that's why I have him in third. And yeah, and also he's probably going to get less moisture in the track this time around with that last start, a bit of a merry-go-round race, as Jackson said. So hopefully get a bit of a fairer track and a better setup for him on Saturday.
Absolutely. Definitely. As our New York resident, how does the weather look leading up to this weekend? Any rain or snow or any severe weather we should look out for?
Not that I'm aware of. I checked earlier and they
Nice.
weren't predicting.
Maybe
There
just
we go.
cold, right?
Yeah, no,
It's
no
cold.
rain.
Just cold, perfect. So yeah, should be a fast dirt track this weekend. Jackson, you mentioned a horse in here not with a lot of exposure. That's number 1, Aaliyah. You mentioned the December 27th race, obviously with the strongest rail bias that we've seen in New York in quite some time. This one was definitely against the bias there, as Muzzara just ran off, hugged the rail, and just spurted clear, and that race was over pretty much at the quarter pole. So I'm going to take this one back here. Blinkers go on for the attempt. You get Chris Elliott, who's been riding great so far this winter. So I'll give this one a shot. This one's dropping down in class to the 16 non-2 life, so lowest level this one's career. Broke his maiden at Aqueduct and a maiden $75,000 claimer, so that's a very respectable level. I think this horse has some ability. I'm hoping the blinkers on keep this one focused. And again, if we're on a fair track, I think this one definitely has a shot. So I can't say a strong opinion because it's not a very strong race, but definitely my top opinion, and one that you guys both have somewhere in your top 3. Actually, you both have them second. Jackson, I'll turn to you next if you want to unmute yourself and tell me why you like Aaliyah.
I was ready. I was ready for it. Yeah, I don't think he took the worst fit last time as far as the track. He kind of got himself. He was never on the rail, but he wasn't like 4 or 5 wide like Cam Duke was, who got third in that race, and I thought ran a lot better. The horse came back and got, I believe, second this past weekend at a short price, at a higher level, to be fair. So it's tough to gauge this one, but he is going to be in the lead. Blinkers going on, getting in light. There's definitely some things to like. Some of those horses that ran on that day have come back and gotten completely overbet, which it's all going to come down to the price on this horse.
It is. Kaylie, anything to add?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, this is going to be his second start off of that layoff, and he ran figures good enough, prior to that layoff to go off of. So, got to figure it's going to play a role here, and also getting blinkers on, going to help with the focus level as well. In a race that didn't come up as strong, I figured I'd put this horse in second. Probably has a pretty good shot here, and also dropping in class. So.
Yeah, we're going to find out again. Jackson mentioned the number 8 Golden Purchase could be your morning line favorite at a nice 1 for 45 lifetime effort. And Jackson, you picked this one in third.
Yeah, I don't want to say this one's figured it out, but he's definitely turned it around a little bit lately. He was just getting beaten very badly pretty much all year. And this last 2 tries, he's run a couple pretty good seconds. So maybe this one is starting to go the right way. And I just like the draw. I like where he's at. And he's finally going to be a price that, like, he's finally going to be in a race where he's kind of expected to do well. He's always been a big long shot in all these races where not much is expected of him, and he kind of runs those odds. So maybe this is just an appropriate level for him, and he can finally get the job done with a good outside stalking trip.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
I don't think I've ever seen that. That's
46 times the charm, you know. That being said, he is getting into the lowest level, or he's dropping back to 16 on 2, I should say, after the effort 2 back. And I mean, a 66 buyer certainly puts him close. I'll tell you what, from the 16th pole to the wire, it's going to be really funny to watch what horse actually wants to finish. They're all going to be just running for second. So I hope someone kicks it into gear late and someone's able to get the job done. But that is the exciting race number 5. I saw the race 162. Jackson saw the race 218. And Kaylie saw the race 612. We'll move on now to race number 6. Race number 6, we're up in the competition a little bit. We're going 6 furlongs in this event. Optional claimer, 45,000 non-winners of 1 other than. I saw the race 615. Jackson saw the race 651. And Kaylie saw the race 165. So we all have the same trifecta. I don't think that's going to have the streak, bode poorly for us. But we'll start with the number 1, and that is going to be All Class. Another runner coming off of December 27th effort. Kaylie, go ahead.
Yeah, so I saw this as the horse to beat. Ended up singling this horse. She's who I landed on in the sequence. I mean, this is Linda Rice's game. She claimed this horse 2 back at Keeneland, then moved the horse to New York, stepped the horse up to the allowance level, and she came flying at the end in her last start to get up for second against Sunday Girl, who's a pretty decent horse. Pretty sure that horse won the New York Stallion Series Filly division in just her second start. So, she faced pretty decent horses and came just close and came from way out of it to get up for second. And that was also her first time over the Aqueduct track, being brought over from Keeneland. So maybe second time on this track as well, having, run a trip over there that should help her here. And she got an 85 buyer for that effort, which tops this field's last out efforts. And then if you look at her previous start, she displayed good speed out of the gate. So it's good to see that she has the ability to run in a couple different ways here.
Yeah, no doubt. Jackson, you and I, as we mentioned in the pre-show with Kaylie, we were live to All Class and Save Us Melania. That would have gotten us through the pick 5 that day, but the rail bias ended up costing us with Katie Davis and Sunday Girl skimming the rail and drawing off in the end. You picked this one in third, rather. Anything you had to add here?
No, just one entry is going to hurt her price. She's going to be a lot lower than she probably should be, unless one of the other ones scratches, which is always possible with this barn. That last race, I know she was wide in the stretch on the extreme rail bias day, but she was glued to the rail for the first 5 furlongs of that race. She just hugged it the whole way around. So I don't know how much extra credit you want to give her for the stretch run when she really took advantage of the track for most of the way around there. And that's kind of why I went with the horse coming out of the same race who had a bit of a tougher trip, I thought.
Yeah, we'll go out to that horse now. That is going to be the number 6 Lady Mine horse that I also picked on top, but why don't you lead us away here?
Yeah, I mean, she got the absolute worst of it. She was legitimately 4 wide around the entire track. And, I thought she ran huge because she battled the whole way, 4 wide against the track on a fast pace and battled all the way to the wire. Beat the horse who got 4th, who was glued to the rail the whole way around the track. Sunday Girl was glued to the rail the whole way around the track. All Class glued to the rail for 90% of the race and then kind of swung out. So the fact that she still got 3rd was really impressive. And just go back and watch the races all day. That horses that got the trip she got, that 4 wide stalking trip, were not only were they getting beat, but they were not even crossing the finish line. I mean, they were just getting trounced. So I thought it was a phenomenal performance from this horse, given the way the track was playing that day. And if she runs, I think you can safely upgrade that race several points. And if she runs back to that, she'll be very, very tough in here at a pretty decent price, I'd have to imagine.
Yeah, we're watching the replay right now. As you can see, the 1A right there, that is Save Us Melania. The 1 All Class is down on the rail. Same with the 3 Sunday Girl. And the number 8 Lady Mine is way out in the parking lot already. Still out there. We'll fast forward a little bit to here. Still finishing on somehow, but yeah, you can see the number 3 Actually, Lady Class ran on really well in the center of the track to close. I think if the rail wasn't gold that day, she was definitely much the best. So, yeah, I agree with the points that you made on Lady Mine. This is the one I'm also going to take out of that. I am going too deep. No, I'm not in the pick 5. I am just singling this one as well. Again, just kind of pressing up some opinions here. Not my strongest, or not the strongest sequence I've seen, but we'll go now right to the inside to Striker has Dial. Jackson, you have this one in second, and I have this one in third, as does Kaylie.
Yeah, just one that should get a pretty good trip in here. And I think if you ignore her turf form, her overall form looks a lot better. I can't really blame him for trying the turf. She looked like she could maybe handle it based on the pedigree. Just didn't work out. And then she gets back to the dirt. Ran a pretty good second to Caldwell Loves Gold. That's a Brad Cox horse, I believe. And at that time, Brad Cox was winning absolutely everything. So no shame at all in finishing right behind that one. I think that race kind of came apart a little bit too, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably should have checked that, but yeah, it's right there for us. Yeah, the 2 pace setters finished pretty far back there, so I wanted to give her a little bit of credit for that. I think she's drawn pretty well in this spot, and she just has to run back that last race, and she'll be pretty competitive in against these.
I like it. Kaylie, any thoughts on this runner that adds blinkers for the effort?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything Jackson said, and given the fact that the horse was able to, obviously got passed late, but was able to hang on and stay with the pace. So I thought that last effort was pretty impressive, and also cutting off a half furlong in distance might suit this horse as well. Blinkers on, last out figure, pretty good. So that's why I have this horse third as well.
Yeah, and even that race 4 back at Parks, that was the Pennsylvania Derby day, if I'm not mistaken, September 21st, and that was a very rail bias day. And I know she lost that 2-5, but she was pretty wide the whole way around the track that day. So that race isn't as bad as it looks.
Yeah, I agree. Striker has Dial, logical third choice in here. I saw this race is pretty formful, and I guess we all did, as we all have the 1, the 6, and the 5 in this effort. So that is race number 6. Again, 6 furlongs, optional claim for 45,000, non-winners of 1 other than. We'll go on now to race number 7. This is typically the last race in the sequence of these state-bred maiden 25s. This time we get it as the race number 7, right in the middle of this pick 5 here. 3-year-old, 6.5 furlongs. Picks are up on the screen. I saw the race 8-5-1, Jackson 5-8-3, Kaylie 8-5-4. So Kaylie, we're going to go out to you. The number 8 is
Giants Audible.
Thank you. There's a coupled entry, and yeah, you just lose me as soon as you get that if we don't have the numbers yet. So Giants Audible. Go ahead, Kaylie.
So this horse is getting Lasix for the first time, starting for a new barn, who is able to get them ready right off the claim. 2 for 12 off the claim over the last 5 years at Aqueduct. This horse's first dirt start, which was her last effort, was the best last speed figure coming in here. Her turf form tops the field as well, even though that's a bit irrelevant here. But clearly this horse, has run some pretty decent races and figures to, make her one of the main players in a race like this. And she should come rallying into what's expected to be a pretty fast pace as well. And she's taking another drop in class as well, gets Lasix for the first time, and also has a rider on Sahin Savachi, who is riding extremely well this meet. 9 for 39 so far. So I thought this horse was pretty interesting.
Definitely. That's what led me to take this horse on top as well, was the jockey. I think this horse is a logical contender based on the numbers and the post draw, and the jockey just kind of cemented the first choice overall merit for me. Jackson, you had this one in second. Anything you wanted to add on this runner?
Best closer. Should get a good setup and come running late.
There we go. We'll go now to the number 5. Is that Wave? Awesome Roberta?
Awesome Roberta.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jackson. Your top pick in the air.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a tough race. You have a lot of horses that have some okay form, a lot of speed fade in this kind of race. And I just like the pattern she had prior to the last race, where she was kind of ascending with those buyer figures, running against much better horses. And then last time, maybe she just, she didn't break that great. I think she kind of stumbled and just kind of rushed up and just didn't run her best race, obviously. That came in the slop. That also came going a mile. So I think getting back to a sprint should be good for her. Getting Lasix might be okay for this horse too. So I think she's drawn okay, and she's drawn in the middle. And I know there's a lot of cheaper speed in this race, but if you can ignore that last race and she can get back to that that ascending form she had prior to that. She should be pretty tough in here.
Yeah, maybe it was just a sloppy track last time that she didn't like. So maybe gets back to a fast track this Saturday, dropping class, maybe wakes this one up a bit. Certainly still has some upside to look for. Kaylie, anything to add on your second choice as well in here?
Yeah, I think you can very much ignore that last effort. I think that she exerted a lot of her energy in the beginning of the race, having lunged and stumbled at the start, and then she's going a mile, so just don't think she had enough gas in the tank after that start to finish up at a mile. So, yeah, I think she should come in here and get back to that form that she was in before her last effort.
I like it. We'll go now. Kaylie, we'll stick it with you for looking to rock the number 4. Is this the number 4?
Yeah, this is the number 4.
Your third
yeah,
choice. Sorry, the couple entries are just, I'm all over the place.
Yeah, so this horse has finished second in her last 2 starts, which I don't love, but I also kind of view as a positive because it seems like the horse continues to improve and seems to be that she's knocking on the door for a win. 6.5 furlongs also feels like the right distance for this horse as well. She passed everybody in the race in her last effort, except for the winner, Not My Stepping Stone, who then put another win, who then won next time out in a claiming race with a 58 buyer. So, she got second to a horse that won next time out, and she's one that is looking that, has a lot of late kick in a race with some speed. So thought she was an interesting option and maybe a decent price underneath as well.
Definitely an interesting option. Kay Rakoa, the jockey, has been knocking on the door recently, so hope he kind of gets on the board there. But riding really well.
Just out of Kaylee's case on the 4 horse looking to rock, I kind of ignored her when I was looking at it. But the more I look, I think she has a case in here because there is a lot of cheap speed. She's gotten no setups the last 2 races, and she's actually passed most of the field. I don't think I've ever seen a negative pace figure before, but there it is right there. And she actually ran pretty good in that spot. So this thing falls apart. I don't see why she can't get a piece of it.
I mean, this December 6th track, unless it was playing, it must have been playing so slow. They went 24.75. They went 49.62 as crazy. As the fractions there. That's like Mahoning Valley Mountaineer time almost.
Looks like me running out there, dude.
It does. Yeah, you and I in a horse suit would be somewhere in that range. We'll go now to the inside to Honey in the Bank, Jackson. Your third pick in here.
Yeah, another one that's been kind of inconsistent. I think the last race is better than it looks. She kind of dueled early on with 2 long shots. Those 2 long shots finished last by like 40 and 35 lengths. So they kind of cooked her. She had no chance going up with those horses. And her form prior to that isn't bad. The debut especially was pretty good. And then she got drawn on the rail twice and just has never really gotten a great setup before. The problem is I'm not sure if she's going to get it again in this spot, but I do think there's a little bit more here than meets the eye. So if she's the right kind of price, I could use her on my tickets.
Yeah, this is a kind of anybody can win race. There's a few that are dropping in. There's some cheap speeds. There's some horses that haven't gotten the right setup. It could go any number of ways. So I'll wrap it up with the number 1 of the coupled entry, Frankie Hiccups, the old off the 0 buyer angle. I'll take this one. Dropping down to maiden 25. Obviously just going to kind of draw a line through that last effort, but the 2 and 4 back efforts, both in the optional claimer and then the maiden special weight on debut, those both fit really well here. I think this one maybe wants some pace to run into, but it's kind of done a little bit of both. Has passed a couple runners, has been forward. So I don't know. I'm just hoping Katie Davis has this one in the right place. First time Lasix maybe adds a little more bottom or helps the horse out as they run. And then again with the drop. So in a race full of unknowns, there's a chance maybe the 1 and the 1A. The 1A is FIFA La Fume or something like that. It is this one. I don't know that they off the triple 0 buyer. I don't know that one's going to take much money at the windows. Frankie Hiccups might take some, but I'm hoping maybe this is a nice like 7-2 coupled entry. I don't know that would be a price I'd want to take on the win end, but one in horizontals that I think I would respect a little bit. So I'll end up on the 1. Frankie Hiccups is my third choice, but it looks like we are all 5-8 to kind of get through this with our top 2 choices. So that is race number 7. I saw the race 8-5-1. Jackson saw the race 5-8-3, and Kaylie saw the race 8-5-4. Move on now to the featured event on the card. We're going 1 mile. It's an allowance race. As it loads, 82,000 non-winners of one under. Then I'll throw the picks up on the screen. I saw the race 869, Jackson 658, Kaylie 589. There are 2 sets of couple entries in here, so I'm already gonna just go ahead and apologize. But we'll start with the number 5, and that is gonna be Bourbon Chase. So we'll throw it out to you, Kaylie, with your top choice here.
Yeah, so this race has really no true gate speed in it. So I kind of just landed on a horse that I thought had the best speed out of the group, in a race that should favor and set up for him. I think that this horse seems to just keep improving and scored his best career figure last time out with the 92. And he's the speed of the race and for a barn that hits at a high percentage as well. So I put this horse on top.
I like it. This is definitely a salty group of horses that you're getting, and this one sneaks in with the off the state bred OC non-winners of 2 other than condition wins. So still eligible for this level because it's verse open, and that 92 buyer certainly makes this one a threat here. Jackson, you use this horse in second. Anything to add on this runner?
No, it just looks like the clear best of the speed. But even if someone decides to go, all 3 of his wins have come from just off the pace. So this horse is pretty much guaranteed to get a good trip no matter what. It's just all about how good he really is. If he can stand the raising class.
Yeah, I agree. We'll go now to this one's outside, not by post position, but by number. We'll go to Lock and Key, a horse that I have in second. You have on top. Take it away with the horse that we have talked about every time he's ran here on the show.
Yeah. Excuse me. This is a tough race, I thought. I thought it was really tough. The lack of speed kind of just throws things, and it was really difficult, I thought. And I thought this horse on the stretch out has a chance to get much closer to the pace than he has been, at least in his last start. And I thought the last start was fine. I mean, Skylander's is a pretty solid horse. Fred Triano would definitely be the favorite in this race. So this horse ran third in that spot, going 7 furlongs. 2 back, he was a lot closer, going 6. So theoretically, going the flat mile, I mean, he should be much closer in here. He's drawn towards the outside, which is good, and I'm hoping he can be more aggressive because his figures they're right there with what it's going to take to win this spot. It's just a matter of can he stretch out to the mile and get the right kind of trip in here.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. The stretch out's a little curious, but it should bring him a little, more into the race. But he still should have that kick as they turn for home. So he got up in the dirt as they went back to dirt 2 back on the 30th of November, and then just couldn't quite get the job done there. But Skylander for, I believe, Wayne Potts won that day over Vetriano, who was your favorite. So Lock and Key ran a very solid third, and he comes back in this spot. Lane Leslie sticks aboard. So, yeah.
I also meant to add, sorry, Ryan. He 2 back, he beat What You Talking About, who came back and ran off the screen the other day. So that was a good win, 2 back.
Did certainly, yeah. What You're Talking About ran. He's still running. He's back around the far turn right now. So completely agree with that. My top pick in here was the number 8, which is of course Chileno, who I'll scroll down to now. Just wanted to confirm that one because again, all of these coupled entries just have my mind all over the place. I'm hoping I get a decent price. I know this is a little bit of a standout figure on that 98 buyer he had last time and the 35 claimer, but he has some back races to get back to when he was trained by Linda Rice. Yes, the 98 was the best of his career, but I mean, I like the way he did that. He won very professionally. He drew off, and he does have some races to get back to that fit this form at this level. So I wanted to take him here. He's second time starting in the barn of Brad Cox. Obviously, he still is a threat to win anything and everything at all points in time. So Rivera is aboard today for the ride. Manny Franco, is he at Aqueduct this weekend? I don't know. Either way, this is going to be my top pick in here. I think this one sits a nice trip from the outside and clearly showed a nice kind of dirt turn of foot, dirt acceleration to power home. Not too sure what he beat in there. Can't be anything too great. But, I mean, again, this horse has some back races to get back to, and I think the trainer switch to Brad Cox might wake this horse up a little bit. Jackson, you had this one in third, but Kaylie, you had this one in second. Anything to add?
Yeah, I thought in this horse's last start too, he showed some pretty good early speed, which should help him out here in a race that lacks it. And obviously that buyer figure stands out a ton, but like you said, if you go back to his back races, he fits class-wise, and his run race is good enough here. And then, of course, Brad Cox moving a horse from claiming level to allowance level. He hits at a pretty high percentage. I'm not sure if it's any higher than he normally hits, but I know he's had success with that class move. So, yeah, I thought that this horse looked pretty good here.
Definitely. Jackson, anything to add on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're supposed to be a little skeptical of it that last race. It was against Way Lesser. He got a super soft trip in there. But isn't he supposed to get another soft trip? There's no speed in here. He's drawn the outside. I mean, he's supposed to get a very similar journey in this spot. And that was the first start for Brad Cox, and maybe that's why he jumped up so big. There's some things to like. I'm skeptical enough. I don't have him on top, but it's all going to come down to the price for this one. I could see him taking a lot of money in this spot based on that last effort.
Could definitely take some beating. I'm curious what the morning line is going to be, as we should get that probably later tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. Of course, we can't move on without talking about a Bill Mott runner here on Big Hoof Energy. So, Kaylie, this is your third choice as well as mine, Reynolds Channel. Go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that, this horse can continue to improve second off the layoff. He's faced all open company in the past. I know that obviously he is in this race too, but there's a few that, face majority state bred company. This horse has handled the field of, for example, the HL and Jerkins this past summer. So I think that, was able to hold his own. So I think that he's going to be pretty tough coming in here for Bill Mott, who we know hits at a higher percentage second off the layoff as well. And then gets Saheen Savachi aboard as well, who's been riding well, as we've been saying. And yeah, it's not a horse with the best early speed. And I know that race shouldn't really set up in his favor, but I think that if you're going to pick any horse besides the speed horse, this horse can effectively pass horses around the turn as well. So I think that there's some things to like about him coming in here, and maybe you can get a good price underneath.
Yeah, I like the view that you had there with the 9 Reynolds Channel being able to pass some horses and really close. I was in agreement with you on that. And then second off the bench for Bill Mott, I think is stronger than first off the bench. Clearly, this is a horse they thought highly of. Took a while to break with Maiden, but once he did, it was right into a Grade 1 stakes where he didn't run great, but he didn't disappoint or do anything terrible. He was 40-1 that day, finished 5th. By 8 lengths behind Domestic Product, who was your favorite in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. So definitely a good field in there. Came back and then, just kind of went to the bench a little bit and is back now second off the layoff. Should be a threat here if he gets some pace to run into. I think, Jackson, I think that's all the horses that we talked about. Oh, go ahead, Jackson. What you got?
I was just curious what you guys thought about the Chad Brown entry, because I kind of assumed someone would have him at least third, but none of us. We all clearly are against that entry. So if you guys have any thoughts about those, I'd be.
Yeah, I'll talk quickly about. Sorry, go ahead, Kaylie.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say I put them on my pick 5 because I view that pair of entries as a bit of a wild card as well, and I wouldn't be shocked if one of them freaks here a little bit. But yeah, I didn't really see them factoring into the dynamics of the race, but definitely wanted to put them on my pick 5.
Yeah, strange coupled entry here. I'm curious what the morning line is going to be. That's going to depend a lot on whether or not I use this horse. If it is something like 5-2, which it might be just because Clarovitz, Chad Brown at New York, probably not going to use him. But I mean, if they post him at something like 5-1, I know we're probably not going to get that come post time, but maybe that plays around 4 or 5-1 in the pick 5. So that would be a cause for me to add that one in. But I mean, I don't know. Neither of these runners showed much. They come back as 4-year-olds. At least they're protected, so you have that to look into, or you have that kind of positive that they're coming back off these breaks, and he's not throwing them in for claiming prices. They're both in the same race. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I didn't trust them enough to include them in my top 3. Jackson, are you going to have this one on your pick 5 ticket, or is this just a toss for you as well?
Yeah, I have them on pick 5 ticket. I just, they both won 2-year-old maiden race at Saratoga. This, Global Perspective was right behind Dardock and Sees the Grace. There's some backlash there. He just ran so poorly last time. I don't know what the heck happened. I was expecting more. And then it just feels like, when Chad has good ones, he kind of saves them for this later in the spring for Keeneland or maybe late in Gulfstream. I feel like they're back this early. They're in New York. They're probably not the best he has right now.
I would agree.
Yeah, I think it's nice to I mean, I included them on the pick 5 ticket, but I think probably going to take a wait and see approach when I actually go and place the ticket, based on, how they look and how much money they're taking. Just pay attention to those things. Probably going to be a watch the tote board type of vibe with these two.
Right.
Yeah, if they're taking money when the race opens in the doubles, that's something to certainly pay attention to, because it definitely means one of them, at least one of them, is going to be live. That's race number 8. I saw the race 869, Jackson 658, Kaylie 589. We'll move on now to the finale. Race number 9, we're going to Mile of Maiden Special Weight Company. This is something we don't normally get to talk about as we wrap up an Aqueduct card. Again, normally it's those low-level maiden claimers for the state breds, but this is going to be a good one. So got a mile. Picks are up on the screen. I got 961, Jackson 691, and Kaylie 164. Kaylie, we're going to start with the rail horse tracking error, sticking with the Sophia Vives, Chad Brown, Klarovich stables. Not a coupled entry, though. What did you like about this runner?
So this horse improved a ton in his second start, which was off of a layoff. So I think this horse is going to be pretty dangerous coming back second off the layoff. It's going to cut back in distance and back to one turn, but that shouldn't really be a problem because this horse, hasn't been way far out of it in his last 2 efforts, especially the first start. So I thought this one was pretty interesting. I mean, I don't know what type of price that you're going to get, but I thought that, the improvement in his second start and second off a layoff should make this horse pretty tough to beat here, and gets Lasix for the first time as well.
Yeah, I definitely respected this horse as I had this one in third. Jackson, you did too. Anything to add?
Nope. Logical in this spot. Makes some sense. I'm a little concerned about the cutback. He got a lot better when he stretched out the 9 furlongs. It's a little weird. I think that they're cutting him back to one turn, but he's got some talent for sure. He'll be right there.
Yeah. Even if he stretches back out again after this effort, maybe they're just starting him at this distance off the layoff, but or second off the cutting back again. I mean, just kidding. I'm wrong. But
he's got a chance for sure.
Yeah, he's got a chance for sure.
He does. We'll go out to the number 6. That's going to be Redouty. For Christoph Clement. Jackson, your top pick in here.
Yeah, I love this horse. I think he's got a huge shot in here. First time out on the turf, not much turf pedigree. I hope you guys would agree with that. You guys would know more than I would. I don't think he has much turf pedigree, and he didn't run great. Kind of had a bit of a troubled trip and just ran around the track. But last time here, I think that was a race we covered actually. And that race, just the speed completely held together. And for him to make the move that he did and to almost get there over Treaty of Rome, who, by the way, came back and almost won the Mucho Macho Man down at Gulfstream, I thought it was a huge effort out of him. Much improved. Again, he overcame a lot, completely overcame the race flow in that day on the dirt, especially. So I was super impressed with that. I think he'll probably see more speed out of him this time. Lasix going on. Kendrick will probably be more aggressive. And if I'm just looking at, the figures, he's by far the horse to beat. He's got the fastest dirt figures in this field. And I just think he'll be very tough.
Yeah. I don't disagree with anything you said. Christoph debuted this one on the turf. Clearly that either wasn't the move or just that was to get some stamina in him going 2 turns or something. So comes back as a 1 mile on the dirt and runs very, very well. And now third start of this one's career in the form cycle. Should be his best effort. Should take a logical step up. Kendrick takes the mount, so this one's live, as he probably had some other options in here. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one run without a doubt. So my top pick ended up being the number 9, which is Munden, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, okay. Thank you. It is Munden. I should know that. I'm just bad at counting today. So I think this is a Chad Brown you might get a decent price on. So that was kind of what ultimately led me to pick this one. Obviously, the 38 buyer isn't anything, to write home about, but sometimes these Chad Brown horses just need a start or 2 to get under their belt. He wasn't favored, so he wasn't live that day. That's typically, how you can tell with Chad what runner is going to be serious or not. Sometimes it's the other Chad, but normally that's around 7-2, 9-2 range. So this one was over 9-1 that day. Again, just ran a little bit around there, but second time out for Gun Runner. They get better with age. They get better with races. So I want to take a chance on this one. I like the breeding. Obviously, a good horse as this one costs $300,000. only 50 cent or 50K more than the stud fee, but I gave this one some respect. Jackson, you had this one in second. Any added thoughts for you?
Yeah, well, 38 Bar is too low. I think we've talked about that race before a few times. Everyone out of that race came back and ran much faster. I think 15 to 20 points faster. So I don't want to downplay that too much. I don't think you can hold that against them. He also broke from the rail that day, and it's not always easy to do, especially first time out. And they kind of split the field, going 6 furlongs, had that even running style that I'd like to see. Indicates that he probably will appreciate some more ground. So he'll be one that should like to stretch out, especially being by gun runner. And he's definitely got a look in here. I'm kind of curious to see how they bet this race because I really don't know.
Me too. This is going to be the last race of the sequence, so I mean, yeah, we won't be able to really know until race number 8. Kaylie, this is a horse you didn't have in your top 3. Anything you just didn't like about this runner?
I just preferred the other Chad Brown horse. I mean, I think that, that horse is going to improve a ton second off the layoff. And this one, I mean, I know whole on debut and should improve a lot in second start, but I preferred the number 1.
Very fair. A horse that you also preferred over is the number 4, kind of Coolapat, of course, for Bill Mott, first time starter. So go ahead and take this one away.
Yeah, I mean, I put the 2 horses with experience that I thought were the best coming out, the Clement horse and the Chad Brown horse, and then I was kind of trying to take a shot with the first time starter underneath the 2, but didn't put him on my pick 5. But because Mott, he's usually better second time out. But he does have the capability to win first time out, obviously. He recently debuted 2 first time starters in November, Tux and Beauty Reigns, who won at first time asking and went up to Stakes Company later on, and then also gets a good jockey on, and this horse has a bullet gate work on December 20th. And then he's a Bernardini who wins with 9% of debut winners and has a ton of works to go back to. Seems like this horse has a good foundation. Not one I'm jumping to include on a pick 5, but definitely thought it was interesting underneath.
Yeah, this was an interesting horse. I didn't have this one on my top 3 because in my opinion, I don't think Saturday's going to be the day. I think he's just going to need a start or 2. But seeing that Savachi takes them out for Bill Mott, and they've kind of used each other a little bit more as time has gone on here. And I think Savachi, by the end of this Aqueduct Winter Meet, is going to be recognized for his ability to ride, because Jackson, you're very familiar with him. He's a Woodbine rider for the majority of the year. So it's good to see him down at Aqueduct this winter. But something about this horse just intrigues me going forward. Again, maybe not on Saturday, but going forward, this horse is bred to run all day. I'm curious to see if this horse has any of the ability. He's clearly got some foundation from those morning works and a long series of them, nice and steady. So curious to see how this one develops. This one could be, I don't want to say, thrown onto the Derby trail necessarily, but could certainly be a top runner as they kind of move forward into this year. So definitely an interesting pick in third. So I'm very intrigued to see how this one runs on Saturday. But I think we talked about the 1, the 6, the 9, and the 4. So that is race number 9. That's the final leg of the sequence. Pretty difficult, but we ended up, kind of similar for the most part. I've thrown our pick 5 tickets up on the screen. As I mentioned, I'm just going to be pressing my opinions on Saturday. But Kaylie, Jackson, you guys have some stronger tickets. Kaylie, why don't you start us off here with your pick 5 ticket totaling $48?
Yeah, so for the first leg, I used the 3 horses that we talked about, and then I also added in the number 8. Jackson touched on how that horse drew a good post position. That's what I saw too, so included that horse on my ticket. And then in the second leg, I singled the Linda Rice coupled entry, all class. I kind of want to see the odds composed. I won't for a pick 5 ticket, but I'm curious to see. I do agree that Lady Mine might have ran a better race last time out for the reasons Jackson listed, but I'm going to take a shot with the Linda Rice coupled entry. Have trust in her, the game she plays the best. And then the next leg, I just used the 3 horses that I talked about in that maiden claiming race. And then in the 8th leg, I used the 3 I talked about, as well as the Chad Brown coupled entry I threw in there. And then the last leg, I just used the 1 and the 6, the Chad Brown and the Clement horse. Even if the Chad Brown horse doesn't fire as expected, I feel pretty safe with the Clement horse on my ticket.
I like it. There's a $48 ticket brought to you by Kaylie. Jackson, $50 pick 5 for you. Take it away.
Yeah, this whole ticket's going to be centered around Lady Mine and it'll ever load. Redouty in the last race. I'm just trying to get alive to those two horses and survive until we get to them because I think those two both have a very live shot and I think they're both going to win. So going to try to get alive to those horses and just be spready until then. That first race is tough. I have my top 3 picks in there. I also included the Finger Legs horse because if I know I've given them a hard time when they ship over here before, but if they're ever going to win a race, it's probably a race like that. So that horse is a deep closer. Maybe he gets the job done at a big price in there. So that's the first race. Again, Lady Mine, I just think ran so well last time against that crazy rail bias. I have to give her a chance. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Whatever, I'll live with it. And I don't think she'll be the favorite either. I think she'll be somewhat of a decent price. So going to be single there. That maiden special weight, New York bred. Again, just trying to survive. I might even include a few more. I don't know. It's a very tough race. They all kind of the same. So trying to survive. Same with the allowance race. I thought it was a very tough race. I'm just trying to be spready in there. Hopefully get some kind of price in that spot because I think it's a pretty wide open race. And then just getting alive to Redouty in the last. I think he overcame a lot in that last race against a pretty solid field, especially compared to what he's going to be facing on Saturday. So if we can get alive to him in the last race, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, $50 ticket brought to you by Jackson. A couple of good singles in there, and then just spreading deep, suppressing up those opinions as well. Yeah, my ticket, $6. It's not going to take too long to go through it. Jackson, you mentioned about 4 times in those races. It's just about staying alive, and that's kind of the name of the game for this pick 5. And that's something where I was struggling to find, horse there were no real strong A's as far as the opinions went for me, but there's some B pluses. So I'll start off with the number 1, Aaliyah, coming off of the December 27th trip, which again, that really strong rail bias. So I'm going to take this one off of that. It gets blinkers for the occasion for this weekend. And then the number 6, staying with you, Lady Mine. Love that effort last time out. While All Class did rally down the center of the track, that was certainly a respectable effort, but Lady Mine was wide the entire time. So I'll take that one coming back. Hopefully fair track conditions lead that one into the winner's circle, but I think it's going to be close. It could go either way. Next race, I'm going with the 5 and the 8. My 2 top picks in there. Again, just going to press those and hope I'm right. Then I got 6, 8 in the next, hoping that I don't know if I had necessarily a top pick. They're both very, very close. In terms of who I like. They're both kind of solid upper Bs for me. And then just getting alive to 169. Those are the 3 most likely winners. I'm going to play this ticket up a few times, maybe like a $5 pick 5 or something like that. Just, it'd be like $30 if I did that. That's very reasonable. Or sorry, it'd be $60 if I did that because it's on a 50-cent base. So, $2.50 then. We'll play it. We'll play it 5 times the 50 cents.
Good math. Good job.
There we go. So yeah, just I'll press this up a few times. If it hits, it hits. It's not gonna be for a pool shot or anything crazy. But that's gonna be my ticket. Again, just keeping it light. Most of my money is gonna go towards Pegasus this weekend. So I'll press this up. Sorry.
I think all my money. I always play Aqueduct. This week, probably play just a couple, not the pick 5, but definitely will be playing Pegasus Day all day.
Nice. Well, let's stick on the topic of Pegasus real quick. Did you have a top pick of who you like in any of the Pegasus races or just the Pegasus World Cup?
I mean, I think honestly, I was really high on Saudi Crown when I first handicapped it because I saw him as the only. I saw him as loose, but I don't. And then Locked didn't draw the best post position, but I don't know. I really need to lock myself in a room for probably a few hours to look at that race. But Locked honestly looks pretty tough, even given that post position. And then I know I'm definitely using Stronghold underneath either of those 2 that I go with. What about you guys?
Nice. Yeah, Stronghold is my top pick. Jackson Saudi Crown, correct? There we go. And then I had Locked underneath, I believe, in second for me. The post position's tough. I'm hoping Johnny can just work out a nice trip. I think he can manage being too wide. Saudi Crown terrifies me, though. He looks loose. if they send him with any real intention, I mean, the last two runnings and then 3 of the last 4 have been won by horses just loose on the lead. Between I think it was National Treasure last year. Who was the year before? Was it Life is Good, or was that more? No, whatever.
National Treasure was second, but yeah, I get your.
Oh, he was second. So you're right. What? Yeah.
Hoist the gold lead, National Treasure.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Okay. But anyway, yeah. Speed's always been good at Gulfstream Park, going the 2 turns. So that's something to definitely be aware of. But I'm looking forward to the race. It's certainly packed with talent, and if Locke takes another step forward, he's going to be running at Saudi Crown late, so that's going to be a ton of fun. And then obviously that entire card, all 13 races, I got to lock myself, in some solitude. I mean, I'm in a room that's pretty private right now, anyway, in my house, so I could get the rest of the Pegasus card handicap from in here before I take off. But fun day of racing this weekend, without a doubt. Santa Anita has a good San Pasquale Stakes out there that's pretty competitive for a grade 3. So I don't know who's going to win that one, but obviously all the attention is going to be in South Florida. But this was the Big of Energy episode 10, the late pick 5 for this Saturday at Aqueduct. Kaylie, thank you. Jackson, thank you. And thank everybody for watching. Excited to, see who can crush their bets this weekend, see who can cash a few tickets. Best of luck to everybody, and good luck at Pegasus, Aqueduct, New York, Fairgrounds, wherever you're going to be wagering. Until next time, we will